Charles Dutoit is one of the great conductors living in the world today, and he brings expertise to every piece of music that he conducts. However, I'd say there's a particular affinity that he has for the French repertoire, and as one of the most important works in the French repertoire, Berlioz' Romeo and Juliet presents an opportunity for our audiences in Los Angeles to hear this great master bring this great masterpiece to life. Several seasons ago, Maestro Dutoit said to us that he really wanted to present this work in Los Angeles. And as planning goes, it takes a couple of years to get everything lined up, but we're thrilled that this is actually happening now. It's a full evening work. It's an intermissionless work, and it features a large orchestra, a double chorus, and 3 soloists. One soloist portraying the role of Mercutio, one soloist portraying the role of Friar Lawrence, and a third soloist acting as the commentary. Hector Berlioz was a French composer who was living in Paris throughout most of the 19th century. And no less than the great violinist Paganini called him the heir apparent to Beethoven. Romeo and Juliet was composed at the end of the 1830s, 1839 to be exact, and it capped a remarkable decade in Berlioz's life. That decade, the 1830s, began with his first symphony, Symphonie Fantastique. It continued in the mid-1830s with his second symphony, Harold in Italy, and culminated with this great Romeo and Juliet. Berlioz was passionate about Shakespeare, and that's partly due to the fact that he was passionate about an Irish actress, Harriet Smithson, who was one of the leading Shakespearean actresses in Paris at the time. Upon seeing a staged version of Romeo and Juliet, Berlioz immediately began to think of the musical possibilities that this play presented, and he started imagining musical episodes. And in fact, that's what the work is. It's really a collection of these great musical episodes as opposed to a literal telling of the story. Berlioz imagined Romeo and Juliet more as a dramatic symphony. And for that reason, the title characters, Romeo and Juliet, are played by the symphony itself and not by the singers. Additionally, the piece was inspired by an adaptation of Shakespeare's play as opposed to Shakespeare's actual words, and that resulted in some interesting anomalies. For example, at the end of the play, Romeo wakes up just before Juliet dies, which allowed Berlioz to write some pretty passionate love music just before the finale of the piece.